and solar power. Everybody need the energy, let's store it up and power the world. Recycle, we need more recycle, but you're acting like some followers on Instagram and Twitter, yeah. So tick tock, don't let the ball drop. The clock starts now. Plug in, we gon' save the planet. So tick tock, don't let the ball drop. The clock starts now. Plug in, we gon' save the planet. Tick tock, don't let the ball drop. The clock starts now. Plug in, we gon' save the planet. So tick tock, don't let the ball drop. The clock starts now. Plug in, we gon' save the planet. Save the planet. We gon' save the planet. Everybody looking at me like I'm from another planet. Save the planet. We gon' save the planet. Everybody looking at me like I'm from another planet. Save the planet.
Igual no.
Save the planet. Everybody looking at me like I'm from another planet. Save the planet. We gon' save the planet. Everybody looking at me like I'm from another planet. Save the planet. We gon' save the planet. Everybody looking at me like I'm from another planet. Save the planet. We gon' save the planet. Everybody looking at me like I'm from another planet. The ocean is alive. Keep the plastic out. The ocean is alive. Keep the plastic out. The ocean is alive. Keep the plastic out. The ocean is alive. Keep the plastic out.
Okay, everyone. Well, welcome to the second talk that we're going to be having today. And we have two really important guests with us. First, we have AY Young, which was the one that sings the song that we were listening to before. And he is a singer and songwriter. He was a participant in the X Factor in 2012 in the US. And AY is one of the first artists to power his concerts with 100% renewable energy. In 2020, he was named by the United Nations as one of the 17 young leaders for the Sustainable Development Goals, as a recognition for being a change maker who is leading efforts to combat the world's most pressing issues. So welcome, AY, and thank you for being here with us. And second, we have Dustin Liu. Dustin is the 9th Youth Observer for the United Nations, and his job is to engage young people in the work of the UN, empowering them to be active participants to foster a greater global impact. Dustin will be speaking to us about the importance of the Sustainable Development Goals and their role in achieving them. So thank you so much, both of you, for being here with us, and you have the floor, Dustin.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Susie. Really excited to be here at Marymount, Bogota. AY and I have been talking about this event for a while, so we're just really excited to talk about the SDGs and opportunities that young people can have in order to meet them. A little bit about myself. I just want to kick off by giving you an outline of what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to start by talking a little bit about the SDGs, a little bit about my work. We'll have an opportunity to talk about ways in which young people can get involved with the SDGs. After that, we're going to kick over to an introduction of AY, and then we'll pass it over to AY to tell us a little bit about his journey. If we were in person, we would be walking around the room. I know AY and I really love to engage and try to make these as interactive and as human as possible. So before we even get started, we just want to make sure that everyone knows the tools that we have to engage and make sure that we're tracking with the energy in the room. Could I just have everyone react with a thumbs up? If you could just go ahead and throw a thumbs up with that reaction button on the bottom. Awesome. I'm going to wait for everyone to pull those thumbs ups on. Feel free to turn your cameras on if you want. We're happy to see faces. Totally fine if you want to keep them off, but I really appreciate all these faces coming on the screen. I bought a super big monitor just so I can see as many faces as possible. So please know that if you are having your camera on, you will be seen. It's not for nothing. And then the second thing that we'd love for you to do is just send a smiley face in the chat. Go ahead and just send us a smiley face, any type of smiley face you want. You can get creative. Go ahead and just send it in the chat so we know that you know how to use that chat function. We want to make sure that every single moment that you have, that something comes up, if you want to let us know something, if you want to ask a question, feel free to throw that in the chat. I'm going to wait for every single person in our space today to throw something in the chat just to make sure that we're set there and we feel really excited to engage there. Giving that another moment. Thanks so much for doing that. And as those smiley faces come in, we want to kick off with a quick chat activity called a chat wave. If you've never done this before, it is super easy. No worries about that. In just a moment, you're going to see on screen an open sentence. We're going to invite you to finish each of these open sentences with a short phrase. Don't overthink the answers. The trick is that you're not going to press enter until I say 3, 2, 1, enter. If that sounds good, can I get a reaction thumbs up? Can I get a Zoom thumbs up? Zoom thumbs up. Looking for Zoom thumbs ups. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm seeing thumbs up across the screen. Let's try a quick test, right? My name is. Go ahead and type that in the chat. Don't press enter yet. Go ahead and press enter in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And go ahead and press enter. Awesome. So that's the chat wave that we're going to be looking for. We're going to try to have that throughout our event to make sure that we're getting everyone's voice in the room at the same time. Moving forward, we want to hear a little bit about what you're passionate about. AY and I want to know who is in the room. So go ahead and tell us a global issue that I am passionate about is. A global issue that I am passionate about is. Go ahead and type that in the chat. We're going to invite you to press send in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and press enter. Awesome. I'm seeing gender equality, oceans, climate change, global warming, scientific development, feminism, education, a lot of education. I just want to pull out for a moment the idea that so many folks in the room are actually aligned on similar global issues that they're passionate about. Just really excited to see how even in this community, we're having a lot of movement building around these particular issue areas. Second question we wanted to pull out for you, youth leadership matters because. Youth leadership matters because. Go ahead and type in the chat what you have for this open sentence. Youth leadership matters because, and we'll go ahead and send in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go ahead and press enter. We are the future. Notice how many people are actually giving the same answer. We are the future. We are the future. Even though we texted at the same time, so many of us are understanding that youth leadership matters because we really are the future. Really excited to see that energy in this space. I want to take a moment for us to drop in for a moment. Drop in for a moment and share with us a personal gift or skill that you bring to this space. A personal gift or skill that you have is. Go ahead and take a moment. We'll take 10 seconds this time. A little bit of a deeper question. Drop in. What makes you feel like you're flying? What do your teachers tell you that you're good at? What do your friends say that you're awesome at? Let's take a moment and capture that in the chat. A personal gift or skill that I have is, and send in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and send. I'm seeing art, music, empathy, being positive, drawing, creativity, making people laugh, making people smile. We're going to wait for other folks to put it in there. Positivism, positive, creative. I'm seeing a lot of creative folks. Confidence, being comprehensive, perseverance. These are all skills that we certainly need in order to meet the SDGs. Feel free to keep those coming in. And as a last question, I always like to kick off with this one just to see where we are in this space, what folks know about the United Nations. The United Nations is, go ahead and take 5 seconds. The United Nations is what? Not a pop quiz. Send whatever comes to mind. I just saw really freaked out faces. No worries about that. Go ahead and send in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and press enter. This is the slowest one. I'm seeing a lot of people say an organization, group, change, global organization, hope, change. Awesome, awesome. Just really helpful to get a sense of where we're coming in the room. I want to kick off my time by going over what is the United Nations? Big question. But to start off with the history of the United Nations, it is an international organization. A lot of things in the chat definitely align with that. That was founded in the year 1945. At the United Nations, there are 193 member states. So what is the goal of these 193 member states? The goal is to maintain peace and security worldwide. They meet at the UN headquarters, which is based in New York. And this is where I like to start by describing my own role. I'm currently serving as the 9th U.S. Youth Observer to the United Nations. That means that I have to be a window to the United Nations. I work to try to pull the curtain back about the conversations that are happening in these high-level political forums at the HQ, making sure that young people know that it is an accessible body, right? We know that especially in this time of COVID-19, we're able to participate so actively in these side events and these opportunities as much as possible. I want to pull that curtain back to make an organization that can sometimes feel bureaucratic or inaccessible really accessible to young people around the country. Second thing that I do is I amplify youth leadership. I travel across virtually, of course. I travel to classrooms, I travel to youth groups, I travel directly into people's bedrooms and classrooms to understand what young people are doing in this country, right? And the goal of that, what young people are doing all around the world. The goal of that is to amplify the great work that we know young people are already leading. And the impetus is to share that with decision makers because we know that young people are doing great work. We need to make sure that we're acknowledging it and making sure that folks understand the work that young people are putting into the SDGs. And then this last piece is what I'm really passionate about, right? I want to make sure that every single young person, no matter where they are in the world, have the tools that they need to make change, have the resources, have the skills, have the social capital, cultural capital, have the tools that they need to feel as though they can make a difference in the world. And a lot of my work is informed by the Sustainable Development Goals, which I know that you folks have already started talking about today. And it's a map for making change that I want to dive into just a little bit more. As you may know, in September 2015, the UN adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And that includes the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that are captured in this circle right here, these 17 colorful, the 17 wheel O, building on this principle of leaving no one behind. And this new agenda really shifted the conversation because we're emphasizing a holistic approach to achieving sustainable development for all, right? And when we look at these 17 goals, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, within these, there are actually 169 targets. Within these 17 Sustainable Development Goals, there are 169 targets that represent a universal agenda. And it's important to describe that they are integrated, indivisible, and they balance the three dimensions of sustainable development: economic, social, and environmental. And when we consider the fact that they're so interconnected, it allows us to understand that we can't talk about climate action without talking about life on land. We can't talk about climate action without talking about gender equality. We can't talk about quality education without zero hunger. And it allows me to really realize when we're pushing forward one of the SDGs, we're actually pushing all the goals forward because they are so intertwined. So often the 17 SDGs are referred to as a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. And this map, I want to be clear, is not just for countries and world leaders. No, this map is something that young people can use for our own social change journeys because the Sustainable Development Goals, they are universal, they transcend borders, and they apply across sectors and communities. And whenever I meet with young people, they often ask me, Dustin, where do I get started? And I think it starts from us figuring out that super tricky global challenge that we're really passionate about. We just did that in the chat today. I saw in the chat people say that they were passionate about climate change, passionate about peacekeeping, passionate about gender equality. These are all super tricky global challenges. If you don't know yours yet, the SDGs are a great place to look to figure out what that super tricky global challenge you're really passionate about. The second thing that I ask young people to do is that second question that we asked you. What are your personal gifts and skills? What's something that makes you feel like you're flying? What do you really enjoy? What's something that your friends and family say that you're good at? And we ask these two questions because we think that's how we chart our role in social change. Where that super tricky global challenge meets our personal gifts and skills is where we can chart that personal role in social change. I think about my friends who are incredible poets who are using their literary prowess in order to expose inequities in their countries and in their localities. I think about my friends who are incredible artists who are drawing murals to really lift up and surface the urgency of climate action. And of course, I think of my friend AY Yun, who's using his love of music and really tackling the recognition gap and getting young people involved in the SDGs. So I'll go ahead and move over to a quick intro video before we pull AY on stage to share with you a little bit about what AY has been working on, just so you folks get a sense of the great work that he's leading.
A local hip-hop artist makes an international name for himself. He is the first artist to power his concert with 100% renewable energy.
It is a real honor to recognize Mr. A.Y. Young, the founder of Battery Tour.
It's incredible. Can't wait for you to see this. The United Nations is now throwing its support behind him.
Mr. Young has made a big impact in his young life, born in 1991. He's a singer-songwriter, a dancer, producer, entrepreneur, and sustainability advocate. He's staged and performed more than 800 concerts. He was named by the United Nations recently as one of 17 youth world leaders of the world. The only individual selected for that honor from the United States.
Forward to stimulating this local economy further, bringing entrepreneurs together, bringing businesses together, bringing the world together so we can make some change. Yeah. A lot of people don't know there's over 1 billion people who lack access to energy. I'm AY with the Battery Tour, and we're here in Honduras. It's beautiful. We send, develop, and deploy renewable energy to people around the world that need it. It's all about getting people access to electricity.
Say the planet, we gon' say the planet. Everybody looking at me like I'm from another planet.
We store energy in batteries and then use it to do a concert.
Solar power, witness.
I always wanted the world to hear my music, this message of positivity and spreading love. I just wanted to say hey to the world. You know, it's okay to be yourself. So I'm really here to help just push that message and get the world plugged in to renewable energy. Yo, what's up, guys? It's AY. How you doing? Dustin, man, thanks for having me.
Dude, AY, you're a true rock star. No, my pleasure. Over to you, AY. Talk to us a little bit about your journey, what work you're working on now, and why you're so stoked about the SDGs.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, well, what's up, man? Like, first, I think the best thing for me to do is to explain to you guys like how the Battery Tour started, right? And how I became this young leader. And then I'll just tell you like what I'm doing as, one of the 17 young leaders. So really quick, I got my start on the X Factor TV show in 2012. So that's kind of like American Idol, got 4 yeses from like the celebrity judges, which was like L.A. Reid, Britney Spears, bless her heart, because she's been going through some stuff. So send her a prayer, guys. Demi Lovato. And, I got off the show, and I think it's important. It's really beautiful what you guys are talking about here today. I think it's important, I kind of recognize that change, comes from your passion, or is best when it's led with your passion. Right. And so for me, my passion was music. So when I got off the show, I wanted to say hey to the world. I wanted to change the world. I wanted to help people. And so I used to hit up like big name acts, like, Wiz Khalifa or Shaggy would come to town. And I tried to, open for them. And I would get hit with, well, how many followers do you have? I didn't have a lot of followers. And they'd be like, one of my favorite questions was like, well, how many tickets has your last tour sold out? And it's like, dude, I haven't even freaking sold any tickets yet. So I was just like, screw this, man. I want to be like Andy Grammer. I want to be like Bruno Mars. These guys are doing shows all the time. And why can't I, live my passion every day? Right. So, I problem solving, right? So I attacked the issue. I was like, well, how do I power a concert anywhere? And I discovered energy is the base resource. I discovered you could store energy in batteries. If I store enough, I could do a concert. And that's how it started. And it didn't even really start like, I didn't call it the Battery Tour. It's actually really interesting. I was performing someday and I was like, yo, my name's AY. And I was like looking back and I had all these batteries and I'm like, and this is the Battery Tour. And that's like how the name, and that's another, like a thought to me, like, change can be little steps every day. Like, it's interesting. People will talk about climate change and all these different things. And what I've realized is, taking a little step every day, taking an action every day is really what can create that change over time. I didn't just walk into being a young leader. So with that being said, people would like donate, right? Like, oh, yo, AY, we like your music. Here's $5, here's $10. We're your outlet. We power the tour, right? And that's how this whole concept and movement, for me at least, of everyone in the world, being an outlet for change. I really think everyone is and plugged into each other at the local community, the national level. We can do anything, right? And so I began to take the concerts from the local city to the different places around America. That's when I discovered over 1 billion people lacked access to energy. So that's why you heard about 800 concerts and open for whatever. And so for me, once I realized, oh shoot, everyone's an outlet. Music's a universal language, and I need to use music as a way to get the world plugged in. And there's 1 billion people that lack access to energy. That's when I built the outlet, right? Which is like an energy storage device. And I started, and this is what developed the take an action concept that I have. Is like in my thought process is like, hey, I have a passion. My passion is music and performing and bringing people together and making change. And I can do a concert every single day, right? That's what I could do. If there's 1 billion people without access to energy, I can use this concert to raise enough money to send one person, one village, access to energy around the world. That's the one action that I can take every day. So pivoting to you guys, and I would love to see in the comment box, like, tell me your passion and like an action that you can take toward like improving the world. Like, I'd love to know. I know we keep talking about being passionate and making change that way. I'd love to know that. So guys, just to like continue the story and then get you to, a Project 17, so started getting the world plugged in. That's where you saw the concerts, over 800 concerts, 17 countries, access to energy. Fast forward to now. I met this guy named Al Gore, shook his hand. He was saying good stuff. I noticed, I looked behind him, and he had this big stage, that was like huge, but it was powered by fossil fuels. And I was like, bro, yo, this is dope, but you should be powered by battery tour tomorrow, and I mean, he gave me his card. He never hit me back, but that got me thinking. I saw Greta Thunberg come to the States in a boat. Do you guys remember that? When Greta Thunberg came, they're like, "Oh my gosh, Greta Thunberg comes in a boat," and I it was dope. She's super tight. And I looked behind, I looked at her and she was talking, and she was connected to a diesel generator, So I'm like, oh my gosh, why are all these people talking about saving the world while destroying it? So then I started powering speeches and panels with renewable energy. I wound up in the UN, and boom. I just became, I met this guy named Paul Hawken. He wrote this book called Project Drawdown. He nominated me to be one of the 17 young leaders along with some other people, and now I'm in this crazy position of being one of the 17 young leaders. So I'd like to let you guys know, or show you like an exclusive look of what I'm doing as a young leader. You guys want to see? Thumbs up or something? You know what I'm saying? We got through the story so I can tell, hey, Dustin, I see, So let me run through this exclusive project real quick. It's called Project 17. You guys know I'm one of the 17 young leaders of the world, right? So I decided to call this Project 17. So here's what I think, guys, because this shows me that everyone's about this action. Like, you're at college, you're doing great stuff. This school is doing good stuff. McDonald's, Samsung. I got off the phone with Samsung today, T-Mobile next week, and everyone's doing great stuff in sustainability. It's crazy. Like, Dustin, we had this conversation when I got into the UN. It was so crazy because like the Young Leader program hadn't like spoke to, I feel like, the UNICEF people in like a year. And I'm like, how in the world are we supposed to make change if we're not plugged in? You know what I'm saying? And it's so I really think, even if you look at the virus, right, it's like we had half people doing it one way with this virus and another half doing it a different way. And if we all can kind of start coming together, I think that we can do anything. So I think that thinking is what made me, one of the 17 young leaders. Here's my big vision or mission. I think everyone in the world is an outlet, right? It doesn't matter if you're a company. It doesn't matter if you're an organization, an influencer on TikTok or Instagram, an artist. I'm here to bring all of these outlets. That's what I think the world is, and bring them into this battery to power change, right? And that's you guys to activate us to make real change. So really quick, this is the project I'm doing as a young leader. It's going to get really crazy, guys. Look inside the circle. The circle is the logo for the battery tour, right? Because we're all outlets. Look inside the circle. You see the 4 facets of like humanity that like the battery tour interfaces with, right? That's companies, that's artists, that's charities, that's individuals like me and you. We ask everyone, or I believe everyone, and I hope you guys take this with you when we're done, like that we are all outlets for change. Like we can all take an action, right? And make a change and shape the world, the world that we want to live in, right? So with that being said, we ask all of our outlets to do 2 things: take an action, power the tour. Now for you guys, an action could be turning off the light, and practicing energy efficiency. We have people are like, hey man, I'm gonna buy electric vehicles from now on. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're Walmart, maybe the action is like, we're gonna power our stores 100% renewable energy or 2% renewable energy by next year, right? It could be crazy, right? So look outside the circle, and I'll explain Project 17 real quick. So right now we're currently doing it. I'm making the world's first sustainable album, guys. 1 song for each goal, in collaboration with one of Earth's biggest artists on each record, right? Next year, we're going to bring the project, the music, to the people on the tour. We're going to do 17 dates in the United States of America first, because I'm the young leader from the US. And then there's this whole education piece that's ongoing. We're in schools rolling out Project 17. I'm doing stuff like this with Dustin and great people to inspire you guys to take an action. You know what I'm saying? Use your passion though, because we got to do what we love to do, but definitely take an action. So that's just a picture of that. Screw that. Here's how it's working. I'll explain this because this is a song that we've already done. So, I partnered up with The Head and the Heart. I don't know if you guys know that band. They're super awesome. One of the biggest bands in America. And so here's how it works, right? Like, so take the Goal 17. I started with that. And I'm going to send you guys a special copy of this song exclusively. Now, this is not coming out for a year, so don't leak it or I'm freaking out to sue you. But I'm going to give you guys like a link so you can listen to it and hear the preview for the album. Now, we want to add Miley Cyrus and the Lumineers on here, and that's in the process. So what I'm doing here is like the Goal 17, the artist is going to be an outlet, right? Power, the change with their voice, right? That's, in this case, it was The Head and the Heart. That's going to raise money, raise awareness, funds, right? To power, the impact charities, I call, like, or companies that do the work. In this case, it's EarthX. They're a nonprofit that brings people together, right? That plugs into where we would do the festival in DC. Maybe it's near you guys. And then, each, concert or event that we do next year during Project 17, it's going to have a legacy project attached to it where we can make an impact in the local community. And then everything's going to plug into this guidebook and roadmap. I'm going to release a guidebook and a roadmap at the end of all this to just give to the world and say, hey, here are the change makers involved. Here's the stakeholders. This is how you do a sustainable tour. This is how you take actions. Like, this is a guy named Dustin who's really awesome. Shout out to you, bro. Stuff like that, right here. We need to be able to also teach, people how to do it as well, right? So, oh man, I can tell you guys a little bit of my story. I mean, you guys are probably like, why am I doing this? Why is he doing this? Is he doing it to get famous? I'm really not trying to just get famous. Like, guys, I was homeschooled. You can see the Boy Scout outfit. I was a Boy Scout. That's where I got this like strong sense of family, and I think my mind's always been like, holy crap, I want to bring everyone together, so we can do cool stuff. And so, this is a picture when I was a kid. Here, really quick, I'm smiling, right? I freaking hated the change. I'll be honest. Okay, my dad would make me go to the neighborhood cleanups. Every month, I had to do Night Out Against Crime. I was always going downstairs or like going to meetings with the mayor and all this stuff. And it freaking sucked. I couldn't hang out with my friends. But what's crazy is this is what I learned about change and being an outlet, which we all are, is that it's and sustainability too, right? It's not always comfortable, like if you're a corporation, it might suck to maybe have to buy straws that are compostable or switch up from a fork that was plastic to this. It might suck to be a college student right now and you're like, oh, well, I want to drive my car because it looks good because, she might like it or whatever. But then you have to like carpool because, you want to save energy. And some of these things aren't necessarily fun, but I think we're going to all look back and realize that we saved this planet, right? You guys already heard my resume or whatever stuff that I've done. I mean, I could talk about it, but it doesn't really matter. Like to me, what matters is all the stuff I did in the past. I think it has brought me here to connect to you guys and for us to like change the world together. Boom. I want to show you this slide because it's freaking popping. Yo, I want to see you guys' faces. Gosh, dang, how do I do it? Oh, okay. Yo, okay, there we go. I see a couple of people. What's up, girl? Yo, so this is what I'm doing, Tom 16, yo. Okay, have you guys ever heard of Michael Jackson's We Are the World? I see people now, because that's kind of what we doing, you know what I'm saying? But, Tom 16, you know what I'm saying? Okay, yo, so here's the idea. At the end of the day, this is what we're doing, man, right? We're finding what people care about, whether you're an artist, whether you're a company or corporation, whether you're an influencer on TikTok, and we're plugging you into the goal that you care about. See, I just did the inauguration for Biden. And so I performed in between Billie Eilish and like Akon. It was crazy. And ever since then, I've been working with Billie Eilish's team. So, Billie wants to do the climate action record, and we want to have Coldplay on there and Bono. So like, that's the kind of thing, right? The idea is like, Dolly Parton and Macklemore on the gender equality record, right? That's how we can bring the world together. So I got a question for you guys, because no one's ever been able to answer this question up until this point. Here's the thing. I was talking to my friend and she was like, oh, she was on all this TikTok stuff. She was like watching on TikTok. And I was like, yo, I bet you can't tell me what your favorite TikToker cares about. But if you guys can, let me know. So drop in the comments. Like, I know, I'm starting to wonder, like, what the heck, dude? Like, some of these people have 80 million followers. I'm like, okay, but what do they care about, though? Tell me what your top couple of TikTok influencers or Instagram. Also, I kind of want to know because I want to get them plugged in, but I don't even know because they're doing these funny videos, but I'm not sure what that means. Okay, cool. So I would love to know that. Don't worry about that. That's just the projection and what we're raising to make this happen. That's something about, okay, this is kind of cool. We have this like way to measure everything. So really quick, like let's pretend 10 million people bought the water record, and you're like, oh my gosh, they just raised $10 million because 10 million people click buy, whatever. Then, it's like, okay, well, the money goes to get people water. What happened? Where did it go? Who did it help? We can like show people, oh yeah, look, these many people got water in this place. Boom. All right, everything is going to be documented. I'm actually currently shooting a 2-season docuseries for streaming right now. So hopefully you guys are up in that and I can like get the consent or whatever that, you guys are okay with being in the docuseries, because we're making history. All right, cool. Other than that, hey, yeah, this is kind of cool. We're actually talking to T-Mobile about this now. So you're looking at the real life idea of Goal 13 right now. Dang, I didn't even know that slide was in there. Skipping slides. Can't show you that one. Screw that. It all starts with music. Save the Planet's my first single. We already got a taste of the album already with the Head and the Heart, trying to get Miley Cyrus on there. I'm going to send you guys an exclusive link, but you can't freaking share it. Okay, that's something else. Blah, blah, blah. Nope. Power. Oh, this is something I shouldn't show you guys, but I'll show you. So I had this one little thing that I thought about like 3 days ago. I was like, what if I like EDM music? And I was like, well, what the heck? Maybe I make an EDM version. Booyah. And then Justin Bieber, who's a friend of mine, through another friend, makes this acoustic album crap. And I was like, oh, shoot, I should do an acoustic version. And then I got on this list with like Jane Goodall and all these other people. And I was like, man, if you're Leonardo DiCaprio, or if you're Barack Obama and you care about no poverty, or you care about access, whatever, how can you be a part of it? Or if you're just an activist like you guys and you don't have 1 billion followers, but you care about something, I want to be able to put you in this project. And so I was like, yeah, let's make a poetry version where you can just talk. Anyway, I'm getting out of that because this is way too exclusive. Q&A time, Dustin. That's the Project 17. But ultimately, guys, I want you guys to know, man, I really do believe that we're all outlets for change. I wish I could talk to all of you guys and meet all of you. I'm all about that. So I'm gonna leave you with a question. I got dark for a second. Find an outlet, okay? This is my third time doing this. I hope this is successful. So this is the Battery Tour logo. So if you find an outlet, take a picture, screenshot something, tag Battery Tour, hashtag Battery Tour. I will follow all of you guys today and get plugged in. So let me know you were listening and paying attention. Thank you guys. Dustin, over to you, man.
Hey, I want to hold on that for a moment. You're getting a lot of shine in reactions, a lot of shine on screen. AY, I'm curious if you can tell us a little bit about, why you think people don't know about these issues, right? What is the goal in terms of Project 17? Tell me a little bit about what you're hoping young people do after they listen to this music. I'm hearing this as a raising awareness campaign of what the SDGs are, right? AY, if someone came to you and was like, what do I do now that I know about these issues? What would you say?
Yeah, totally. I mean, ultimately what I want to do is drive real action, but you, of course, you got to get people plugged in, bro. That's the thing. Like, I'll be honest, man, guys, before I got picked to be a young leader, I didn't know what the heck the SDGs were. What the heck? I was just like traveling America, doing these concerts. I found out all these people didn't have power. So I was like, okay, well, Nike's not behind me. Tesla, I'll just build this. And I was taking an action, right? When I found out about the SDGs, I was like, this is amazing. But you know what I noticed in America? Everyone knows the D'Amelio sisters. When Justin Bieber puts out a record, they're all singing his song, but they have no idea about the fact that maybe people don't have water. It's nuts to me. So for me, the music is the vehicle to like break the first layer of ice, but it has to be cool. Like I talk about all the time, like, do you guys remember like 3 years ago or 4 years ago when like all of a sudden Instagram just blew up in the sense of like girls were like, selfie, eating healthy. Do you remember that? And everyone's like doing yoga, like, oh my gosh, I'm finding my inner self. I'm doing it. Like, it was crazy. And then all of a sudden, like, sustainability like became cool though. I mean, honestly, come on, man. It wasn't popping. That's why I'm here. I have not sold 10 million copies. Why the heck am I at the inauguration with Billie Eilish, Garth Brooks, and whatever, right? It's because it's becoming cool. So for me, this is every part of me, but also, I'm just trying to, and help people take action. And so this project, it's not just like a drop in, people drop stuff like, oh, here, go to this concert and you're going to save the planet. Well, how are you going to save the planet when the concert, the dude on the stage is talking about girls' butts and whatever, that is powered by, fossil fuels? Is it possible to actually talk about it in your song? And I'm proving it. Oh, and it's possible to maybe even not just say, hey guys, practice sustainability and then start rapping. It's possible to actually, it can be cool. So I'm here to hopefully show it's possible,
AY, talk to me a little bit about your superpower, right? I started the presentation talking a little bit about how we need to find our own superpower and how it connects to the SDGs. AY, what's your superpower? And what's that gap that you want to fill?
I feel like, dude, I don't know. I think if I was to have a superpower, bro, it would be that I believe in everyone else. Like I think I can see everyone else's power or possibility. And I think I'm just here to like bring it out. Like you have to understand, I was a nerd in school. I was homeschooled. People used to laugh and joke about me, I know what it's like to have an idea or a dream or to not know what to do and be like, oh, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what I'm supposed to be yet. And all this stuff, I know what it's like. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand, I was doing 8-hour shows every day for 6, 7, 8 years. People literally last year started doing like this. This is what they started doing. Oh my gosh. Well, you're a renewable artist. What? They never called me that in 2012. I know what it's like to feel alone. I know what it's like to like, I understand. And so I think that's my superpower, right?
Hey, my last question for you before we open it up. I'm curious if you had to leave people with one piece of advice, right? One piece of advice on ways in which they can get engaged in the SDGs. One piece of advice for young people who are getting involved. What would that piece of advice be?
I would say go within. Screw everything in general. If you haven't figured out you or like your why. You know, like everyone's like, I want to save the world. And I'm like, okay, but what do you love? Let's figure out, could we flip it? Like, I know we all want to do this and do that. And we want this and we want people to know my name and like all this stuff. But, you know, maybe if you take a second to maybe not spend, you know, every weekend, you know, in a relationship with this guy you're dating because you haven't even had enough time to like see yourself and like work on you and distract yourself with the video games and do this. Maybe if we just took, you know, a little bit more time to be like, you know, self-care for ourselves and like figure, you know, try some things, jump, because sometimes you got to try some stuff to figure out what you're passionate about, right? And then, you know, apply that to making change, right? So go within first. Then you'll find all the actions in the world to do what you love. Like you'll be building a battery and you're not a freaking Harvard grad. I don't know what the heck. I just did that because I was fixing a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Huge. AY, we're going to open it up to questions now. So if anyone wants to raise your hand, you can feel free to do that. Throw questions in the chat. We'll be monitoring that. I'll pass it over to maybe Susie and Steffi. Anything else that we want to like do to prime Q&A, or are we happy to just, you know, move forward with a quick Q&A for the next 10 minutes or so?
I think we can go with a quick Q&A. I'm sure everybody has lots of questions and comments that they want to make. So maybe before they ask their question, they can say something that they're passionate about, and if they want like their superpower or something. And yes,
I love that, what they're passionate about or what their favorite SDG is, like what goal, you know, you connect to the most. I know it's hard to pick one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you guys can ask your questions.
What up?
I think there's some questions in the chat. So, oh wait, no. But
well, I have a question in the YouTube chat, I think. Okay. And it says simply, what is your dream?
What's my dream?
To both of you, I guess.
Dustin, you go, bro.
AY, putting me on the spot. You know, I think about this question a lot, right? I know that you started your day thinking about the world that you want to build. I think about the question that motivates me is what is the world that I want to live in? And how do I help us push towards that world, right? So my dream is this idea that every single young person feels as though they can change the world, right? My second grade teacher, when I was in second grade, asked the class what we would do if the cure to the world's hardest problems were in the mind of someone who didn't have access to education and couldn't share it, right? We know that there are great ideas out there. We need to make sure that people have the magic in order to share it and feel as though they can change the world. So the dream that I have is for every single young person to feel as though they can and have the ability to change the world. AY, over to you. What is your dream?
I mean, dude, that's why we're like friends, because it's like the same thing though, man. You know, like I guess my dream is like, I guess to prove that you can be a homeschool kid, you know, in an urban, impoverished environment at the time, you know, no friends, like, you know, no music background, you know, and I mean, you can change the world. I mean, it doesn't matter where you come from, even who your parents were, you know, like we have the choice to create our own future, not just for ourselves, but for this planet. And I mean, I just think that that's my dream, is like, I just want people to realize, bro, that you can do it, bro. Like you can legitimately do it. I didn't know who I needed to know. You know, like I didn't have $1 million. Like I spent 10 years getting donations from people like you guys at the park or the plaza, or going to like some theater and dropping $1. And I built it from that. Like it's all possible, man.
Huge. Yeah. Thanks, AY. We're going to pass it over to Steffi.
Yeah, I have a question for both of you. So, first, my favorite SDG, I guess, is like gender equality, because I'm very passionate about that. I really like it, and my dream world is a world in which both men and women are equal. So I really like that. And my question for both of you is, how can we guarantee that our positive actions last and they like leak out to other people and they are heard, you know, our positive actions and our change, because I think that change starts within us. So how can we make that change last and pass on to others?
I'm always letting Dustin go first.
Okay, hey, why? I'll text you later about this.
Right?
Let me go. So I think a lot about how we can't just tell people go change the world without letting them know the way to do it, right? I think so often we tell young people, go change the world, you know, go do it, go cure this problem. And I think oftentimes that can feel super overwhelming, right? I think about the fact that burned out people can't save a burning planet every day, right? Burned out people can't save a burning planet. And the way in which we build the idea that we're creating a sustainable movement is when we come together. You know, AY, your story is really poignant because, hey, change making is super lonely sometimes, right? If I didn't have AY, if I didn't have people that I could text when things got hard, I'm not really sure where I would be with my own change making, right? So two things are coming to mind for me. One, let's share our stories and the ways in which we make change so others understand how they can create their own path. We often say, hey, I've done this thing. What I appreciate about AY so much is that he tells us, hey, I went from point A to point B to point C, and this is how you can do it too. The second thing that's coming to mind is we need to build communities of social change, right? We can't do this alone. And what are ways in which we can build communities or build groups or build support systems that help us do this to build on each other's work rather than starting from scratch? I mean, going back to AY's first slide, we're working in silos. AY and I see this in the UN all the time, right? 100 different initiatives doing the same thing. What would happen if we worked together, built on each other's work, and built something amazing? AY, over to you.
Exactly. Not well said. And you can't always measure it immediately. There's like a patience thing involved, right? You have to understand that, you know, again, I talk about the taking an action, taking a step every day, you know, taking a step every day. You know, like I did 800, like the number, like the guy was like 800, right? But I mean, every day, every year for almost a decade, right? Like there's so many times I was like, well, hell, you know, forget this, bro. No one cares, no, right? But it's over time, so it's okay to plant that seed to make that small impact, and you don't always see something come back. So be okay with taking small steps, and collaboration is key, definitely.
Hey, well, I want to pin on that for a moment. You know, I want to talk about local change for a second, right? We talk about these goals like they're happening 3,000 miles away. We sometimes talk about these goals at the most systems level. You know, AY, talk to me a little bit about how you got your start thinking about local communities, because I think for young people, sometimes it's important to say, we're not doing climate change. We're not, our contributions are moving towards that overall goal of climate action. But hey, the actions that we take, we can probably see the impacts of that every day in our own local community. So AY, question for you. Can you give us an example of a moment where you had an opportunity to give back to your own community locally and you saw the impacts?
Yeah, totally, all the time. I mean, honestly, that's everything that the battery tour is. It's actually a plug, a platform for, you know, you to plug in and connect to your passion, or if you're, you know, a company or organization, your initiatives. So, you know, what I actually do with the battery tour is whatever city or state I'm in, I plug into the local artist. I connect to people that care about sustainability. We bring people together, or companies that have these initiatives, so they can get around each other, so they can get connected and plugged in, right? So, I mean, I've literally seen what the school programs are doing with kids in schools that are doing, you know, they're actually using me as an example of a guy who took his passion and took an action. So I'm seeing all these kids. Like I saw a kid 2 weeks ago, actually. He's got plugged into the SDGs. And so his passion is the Rubik's Cube. You know, he loves it. And so what he did was he created like this Rubik's Cube version. I guess it would be called Braille, for people who can't see, so they can still do the Rubik's Cube. Incredible, right? And not only is that having a local impact with like the people that like can't see in my community, but like that actually might change the world. You know, like that's the kind of like, you know, yes, community first. I've seen, you know, I see it a lot. I mean, my neighborhood right now, is I think more progressive, with like purchasing local food from local farmers and things like that, because I'm a huge cheerleader of that. We have our own local farm here in Kansas City that we feed the neighborhood. You know, like those, to me, those are the biggest impacts.
Mm.
Is those that you think you're small, that they're the biggest ones. Yeah.
Huge. Thanks, AY. Going over to Sophia. Sophia, feel free to unmute. Let us know your question. I think you might be our last one.
Thank you. My favorite SDG, I think it will be the end of poverty. And my question is for both of you. And what would you both say is the most difficult thing to get through in order to achieve all of this, like all what you're doing?
I could take first.
AY, I was gonna say you first, dude.
Yo, I mean, it's a surface level answer that everyone can say. Like the UN, if you were talking to them, they'd be like, "We're underfunded." You know, if you talk to some people, they'd be like, "You know, not enough people know about this or what to do." You know, I guess my answer to that is I just think it has to be cool, man. You know, like I mean, when I look at social media, when I look at what's popping, it's like when something's cool. You know, when the Megan Thee Stallion song is, you know, whatever, you know, it's everybody knows about it. Everybody talking about it, right? So there's something missing with the SDGs and like what's dope, what's popular, what's cool. I think art has to be a big part of it. I think music, I think those things have to be a part of change and have to be a part of making these things happen. And so hopefully I can be, you know, part of that, of bringing that along in a genuine way. Not just because my agent's like, yo, man, you got to say something about recycling because your fans might not, you know, buy your next album unless you say you're sustainable. And then they just do it, you know, because they're like, yo, it's popping. Not like that. I mean, really coming from a real place. So go ahead, Dustin.
AY, great answer. You know, Sophia, really difficult question. For me, the biggest challenge to achieving the SDGs is that we're often taught that the SDGs will be impossible to achieve, right? We're often taught that it's not possible. I like to think about the moment that I learned that magic didn't exist, right? I was in second grade. I was talking to my friends about why I wanted to go to Hogwarts. And then this lunch lady came over and told me that it would never happen. And I think moments like that stay with me because I realize it has to start with our ability to imagine that it can happen, right? We are taught out of imagination. We lose our sense of joy. We lose our sense of magic. And it's really important that we hold on to that because I think that's going to be super critical to achieving the SDGs. The ability to move towards a goal only happens when we can first imagine that it exists. AY, curious for you, how are you keeping your imagination alive, my dude?
Creatively. I mean, I'm blessed, right? Because when music comes on or I start playing the keys or something, I can flow, I can create. And I believe, man, I believed every day since I started doing this. And since I was born, I feel like I was just born for this and just believing like, hey man, everyone, you know, we can all work together and achieve everything. I was that kid in class, I was like, let's do this group assignment. And everyone's like, man, that guy is whack, you know? But yeah, yo, dude, man.
Huge. Thanks for that, AY. Well, pass it back to Steffi and Susie, if it's all right. I think we're pushing up on time. Any last thoughts, any last things that we can do before AY and I head out?
Well, not much, but I wanted to thank you guys so much for being here today, for making such a fun speech or talk for all the girls on the YouTube Live and on the Zoom to participate. I think we all loved it, and we're gonna be posting our hashtag battery tour on our Instagram stories.
Plugged in.
Yeah. And I wanted to remind everyone that's watching the YouTube Live and the Zoom that our guests are in the US. So we want to thank, I guess, being able to have these events, having people from all over the world. I guess we have to thank virtual events and a virtual festival to have guests like these who are so important and are doing so much for our planet and can inspire us to do the same. So thank you guys so much for being here, and I hope everybody that heard the talk liked it a lot. And I think
Dustin, if that's okay, maybe we could take a quick picture. Everyone like turn their cameras on and like take a quick picture. That would be amazing. Okay, so I'll let you know. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't blinking.
And I think Natis has something to say.
Yes. Well, I just wanted to say again, as everyone has mentioned before, a huge thank you. You have no idea how much it means to have you guys here. I think one of the things we've learned in the last year is that although sometimes we may feel that kind of the boundaries are closing in on us because we have to stay at home, this has made us look for beyond our boundaries. We have never thought of having guests from the US here in our cultural festival, and here we are. We are each of us enjoying this festival at home, but being able to just live it and sharing it with you all the way from Missouri and from New York. So thanks again. This is incredible. I know all of my girls are enjoying it, so I would like everyone just to give them, I don't know, just a clap. I think this deserves a good round of applause. And just thanks again. I'm sure we'll have more opportunities to hear from you and all the great things that you do for our planet. So thanks also for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hope everyone's taking care, staying safe. AOI, I'll see you soon, okay?
Peace out, brother.
See
you guys later.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you for a great first day of our festival. We still have 2 more days to go, and have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.